What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? Matty here with another episode of Steelers Touching Under. Today's show, we are talking about reacting to really this and takeaways from the Steelers' loss to the Detroit Lions 24-17. All right, well, the Steelers wrap up their preseason. They are now like 0-3. It kind of feels a bit like a wasted preseason to me, to be honest. People say, why is it wasted? We saw some things from some players. We saw who wasn't going to be on the team, who's not going to make the 53, who's not going to make the practice squad. But for me, I just kind of feel like the Steelers, and was not helped by Russell Wilson's calf injury early on in the training camp. But I just don't feel like we've seen them really hit full gear, at least from an offensive perspective. It's hard to sort of think about that because, we'd hope for a bit more from the preseason, hope we'd seen the Arthur Smith offense fire. So I'm going to give you a quick 5 sort of takeaways for me. Number 1, I think the starting quarterback is definitely Russell Wilson. I think he looked like that in the game. I think some people were a bit wary about that last week, but I do think that's the case. Russell Wilson on this roster currently is QB1. Fields is QB2. Allen is clearly QB3. And John Reese Plumlee, we're going to have to figure out if he can make the 53, but he's likely on the practice squad. That just is what it is. That's the reality of where the Steelers quarterback role is. So for me, takeaway number 1, I think quarterback's set for the first few weeks of the season. Unless there's an injury, it's going to be Russell Wilson. On the running back side of things, it's my takeaway number 2. I think Cordell Patterson has probably done enough with his touchdown to make sure that he's the 4th running back, or at least the 3rd running back listed there, or to make the squad if he's listed as a returner. But I think they'll list him as a running back on this team. P. Ryan has put in a really good case to be a 4th as well. So it could come down to one of these guys fighting that out. Jonathan Ward and Dejan Edwards in there. I'd still go with Edwards over Ward because of the youth and the pedigree there. But Jonathan Ward and P. Ryan could probably both find themselves on the practice squad if they pass waivers through. And that's assuming Cordell Patterson makes it. If he doesn't, then I think one of them can join Dejan Edwards with Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris in the quarterback room. The next takeaway, I'm pretty certain now at this point with the way that it is looking, I think Scotty Miller does make this roster over Quez Watkins. Chan and I talked about that on our show this week on Steelers Global Perspective. That might be in the cut show that we've got coming out on Tuesday my time, so Monday evening in the US. But I do think after this game, I think Van Jefferson pretty much locks out the second wide receiver, the wide receiver number 2, maybe alongside with Calvin Austin, we'll see. But I think Van Jefferson right now, if you had to list a wide receiver number 2 on paper, it is going to be Van Jefferson. Nicole Pruitt, despite the negative things I continue to say about him this offseason, he played pretty well, and he's definitely putting out a challenge there to Haywood and Coletto into are they going to have a 4th tight end? Are they going to run a fullback? What are they going to do? So that's good. I'm happy for Pruitt. Fits the Arthur Smith offense, has followed Arthur Smith around from team to team. So that is my takeaway number 3 with Real there and the receivers. Takeaway number 4. I mean, Herbig, great game. 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, 3 tackles. Herbig has definitely locked up the 3rd linebacker spot. I think he's going to continue to improve. This is huge this season with TJ and Highsmith. And Highsmith particularly had like groin complaint at times. This is going to be absolutely massive. Mark Robinson has probably played his way onto the 53 for now as well. So the linebacking is my 4th takeaway. We kind of figured out the 4th line, inside linebacker, the 5th maybe. And then you've definitely Nick Herbig solidified that. But other than that, I'm kind of like, I feel like we walk away knowing that Beanie Bishop makes the squad. I think we know Ryan Watts is going to be a key player. I think Demonte KZ could still find himself out. But my takeaway is that I don't feel like, apart from the guys that we know are slotted in there as starters, and I'll do an updated depth chart show probably for Tuesday evening American time. But quite honestly, I had wanted to feel more concrete about the depth and the backups in the secondary, and I just don't think the Steelers have proven that this in the preseason games. So that kind of sucks from my perspective. But maybe I care more about that than other people. I don't know. But that kind of sucks. I kind of wanted to see that sort of more fleshed out. But ultimately, it is the preseason. Ultimately, if you go 0-3, it doesn't affect whether you're going to finish in the AFC North. It doesn't affect whether you're going to make the postseason. And it's certainly the only thing it does mean is that you've still got a chance of making the Super Bowl. Because as we know, if you go undefeated in the preseason, you can't make the Super Bowl. So quite honestly, Pittsburgh Steelers, it can all be hunky-dory, but I do think they have a lot of work to do over the next fortnight with the bye week next weekend ahead of the week 1 game against the Atlanta Falcons away in Atlanta. But you let me know in the comments, what did you think about the game? What are your takeaways? I'm Matty P as always. Go Steelers.